Phil had one vision for this. Warner Brothers said, no, we got to be up to Marvel standards right now.
Yeah.
And make this money.
Yeah. I really feel that this whole thing that DC's doing is just a cop-out. They're like, crap. Because right, you look at Marvel, and they had Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America: The First Avenger, all before their first Avengers movie.
Right.
And they had introduced every character that was going to be in the Avengers movie,
at least major characters.
Right. By that point, you saw Hawkeye for parts in Thor. You have Black Widow in Iron Man 2 and stuff like that. So you see these characters already, and you're right. They push them into it. This whole universe idea fails, which really, let's be honest, every universe idea outside of Marvel's has failed. Right. You had Sony try with their Dark Universe. DC's failed. And so they're going, crap, we got to try to do our own thing now.
Even to a degree, Star Wars is failing a little bit because the moment Disney got Star Wars, they wanted Rogue One, they wanted Solo, which Solo was a big bust. And it looks like, I don't know if those movies are coming back, but it looks like all of them have been canceled.
Right.
Star Wars tried to do that same thing. I feel like Marvel has done a lot with influencing the landscape with movies now. Like every movie feels like it has to have the shared universe. Even like the Godzilla movies with King Kong and whatever. Like it's building up to a Godzilla vs. King Kong movie.
Instead of just making movies.
Right. We're focused on we have to have a shared universe now because I think Marvel really has influenced that. And look at Sony with their Venomverse. They're trying hard to do the same thing.
Right. Whether that'll be successful or not is still out there. Obviously, they only have one movie. So
I do still think that it's shame on DC because DC has all their A-list characters under their belt. Marvel launched their universe with no Spider-Man, no X-Men, no Fantastic Four. And Iron Man, like...
And the only character they had that you might consider A-list was Hulk, and they made a bad movie.
Right.
So...
no, the Hulk belonged to Sony.
Yeah,
right, but of that original, because that Hulk movie is technically part of MCU
canon. Incredible Hulk.
Right, the Incredible Hulk, the 2008.
Yeah, 2008, not the 2003 one.
Right, the 2008 movie is technically part of the MCU. Nobody talks about it, but it is part of it, and that's the only character you can say. And Hulk's not technically A-list, I wouldn't say, but he's the closest out of everybody they had for that original group.
He's like a B+.
Yeah, and that's the worst one they made of that original group. In my opinion. And so here's DC, right? You're saying they have Superman, they have Wonder Woman, they have Batman, they have their trilogy of great characters, and then all of their supporting characters already. And really, in my opinion, the only really good one they made was Man of Steel. I agree with Phil. I thoroughly enjoyed Man of Steel. And I understand why a lot of people didn't like it, but I like that incarnation.
I just look at that and say you had all your roster at your hands, and you have incredible stories you could tell about these characters, and you couldn't produce good content. Marvel did this with, like, I feel like I'm quoting Jeff Bridges in Iron Man 1, with a box of scraps. They built this universe with a box of scraps, built this major studio there, and now they're with Disney conquering Fox eventually, and they're just expanding.
Well, if you take a look at it, and not to say that Batman the Dark Knight was their major blockbuster. It was their best films.
One of the best superhero films ever. One of the best pure films, in my opinion, ever.
But also with that trilogy, and I'll let you finish, but like you had Christopher Nolan, who had freedom to develop the character and the story he wanted without the studio getting in his way saying, no, you can't do the Joker that dark. You have to do this. And that's what happens when you have a good director who's
allowed to do it.
Life.
Oh, yeah, and push their actors as well.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Well, my whole focus here is just that, you know what? The Dark Knight and Batman was a great series. It was a great trilogy of movies.
All three of them are very good movies.
But would not fit into modern day DC.
Not at all.
Not even in the slightest bit.
They were very grounded movies.
They were realistic. They made you think that this Batman could exist. You know he doesn't.
Yeah,
but that if somebody was a multi-billionaire, they could become a Batman. Because even you have characters like Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul, who are more, quote, mystic characters, if you want to call them that, and they're not at all really mystic in this. And Bane, instead of being this venom-juiced guy, is just an incredible fighter, and he is strong, but in just this well-trained and smart fighter. So, I agree that Christopher Nolan, and of course, they had asked, I can't remember his name now.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, thank you, to be Batman.
Yeah.
In the new DC universe there, and he said no, he didn't want to do it.
Oh yeah.
Which I understand. I get it. And he probably looked at the script and said, "What?"
I think if Nolan was given the handle for the next set of movies, and if they were smart and kept it grounded, kind of like Marvel kind of grounded their universe, it would have been better. Instead of trying to make it look fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the part of Zack Snyder that may have hurt them a little bit is the need for all that.
Mm-hmm. He loves his fantastic vision. And don't get me wrong, his movies are fun to watch. Like 300, so good. The Watchmen,
good movie.
Sucker Punch. I love those movies.
But it seems like he lacks what he has in this ability to make it visually stunning. He very much lacks in actually telling a story.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Which movies can look great, but if they don't tell the story, why watch them more than once? You know.
Well, you need to be interactive. You need to be compelling. You need to have a great story that's believable.
Yeah,
and even that takes a lot of time. A lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money as well, too. Because you need to invest in the perfect character, the perfect actor, the perfect script. You need a production company that's going to do it correctly.
Yep.
And it just is what it is.
And I think DC has a little bit of a chance here. But Aquaman was a success. And then you have Shazam coming up in April, which is a bit of a different superhero movie.
And that movie's going to fail. Not because it will be a bad movie, but because it's smack in between Captain Marvel and Endgame. No one's going to go see it, which sucks because the commercials, I kind of want to see it. It looks kind of fun from the commercials so far, but that movie's going to fail because of that.
It looks like DC's lightest movie in terms of there's light everywhere. It's not dark.
Phil, are you a DC or a Marvel guy?
I would see.
Or you're just a nerd and you like all things?
So I'm a nerd that likes all things. I'm a Marvel guy, but I grew up reading the Green Lantern movie.
Is it?
I hope not the movie, because that was a rough movie.
Is it because Ryan Reynolds is Canadian?
I cannot confirm nor deny the legality of Ryan Reynolds movies or Ryan Gosling movies. But no, one of my first comics was a Green Lantern comic. I think it wasn't Hal Jordan, it was Kyle Reese, I think is his name. I think he's the third Green Lantern.
Yeah, you have Hal, John Stewart.
And the first comic I got, it was all sparkly at the time. What's happened there?
No, you're good.
You're good. It does that every once in a while.
Does that all the time.
Okay. But it was a little sparkly of the book. It was a sparkling book. It was nice. I loved it. That was the first comic I read. And then I got into all the others, the Supermans, the Batmans, the Wolverine comics with the X-Men and that. So
do you know him personally? Not Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, since he's Canadian. Do you know him personally?
Unfortunately, he's from the West Coast, so he's from Alberta.
Oh, boo! Now, is there a feud between East Coast and West Coast Canadians? Is that what's going on?
There is a little bit of a beef.
You got Wolverine.
I'm not allowed to get political, so I'm not going to get Canadian political.
Is it the different flavors of poutine?
The only true poutine you can get, my friend, is in Quebec.
Ah!
Okay.
How dare they?
Like the rest of the place, they don't get the cheese curds that squeak when you bite into it.
That's true. That's true. You need to get that nice
poutine fries.
Oh, yeah.
I always have.
Oh, yeah.
It's called poutine fries. It's just called poutine, my friend.
Well, I'm an American, and we butcher everything.
Yeah, we call it poutine.
Yeah, we call it poutine.
It's poutine.
Like Vladimir Putin, but not quite.
Yeah.
Poutine there. No.
So wait, hang on. How do you say it? Because I want to say it right.
So it's poutine.
Poutine.
No. Poo. Like tin, but you're adding an E at the end. Poutine.
Poutine.
There you go.
Poutine.
We learned something today.
Success. You kind of got it there.
I feel a little slow on the the Canadian talk. I feel a little left out.
So our last question. Sorry, go ahead. I cut you off there a little bit.
It's all right. I was just saying, throw in a little A in there and you're fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think our last question here with Phil Better, and I think unless Tony or Drucker has something else that they'd like to ask.
I only have one question.
In the end, are you going to go see these DC movies, or are you kind of out on DC? Because I got to be honest, I'm not 100% out. But I'm like I've got my hand on the door, I've got it cracked open, and I've got a foot out. And if Shazam isn't a good movie, I'm out. We'll go around the table. We'll start with you, Phil. Where are you at?
I'm in the same boat as you. I got my coat on. The party's kind of done down. I'm about to exit, because I have to go get a 2-4 to go watch the end game. But yeah. I feel Shazam's actually going to be a good movie. It's going to be a fun movie. I have a feeling it's kind of going to be a little Homecoming mixed in with Iron Man, the first Iron Man. I got that feeling just from watching the trailer, because Zachary Levi is a great actor.
Yes.
He's got comedic timing. So I feel like it's going to be good in that regard. But it's like they're prolonging it until they get the next one that's bad, because you got Wonder Woman coming out after that.
Right.
And I don't even know what the next slate is after Wonder Woman.
I don't know.
1984. So
well, apparently
DC knows.
Yeah.
Apparently it was supposed to be a Green Lantern movie, and then they backburnered it,
which I would love. I'm with you. Green Lantern wasn't the first comic that I ever read, but he is actually my favorite DC comic. I've always loved Green Lantern.
Eve, it's all about the poutine top.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
If they do a proper Green Lantern movie, I feel like it has to be somewhat of a buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
Where you have Hal Jordan be the grisly guy. He's just fed up of policing and that because he's been dealing with Sinestro for so long. And then you got what's the brother's name again? The second Green Lantern.
Oh, John Stewart.
John Stewart. You got John Stewart, who's like the rookie, who's really happy. He's like, yeah, I'm changing the world, I'm changing the universe, I'm taking care of things.
One ring at a time.
Yeah, one ring at a time. And then Hal Jordan has to die at the end.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And Hal Jordan ring gets passed to Kyle Reese, and then you get the switch where Kyle Reese is like this new blood into the core because he's thinking differently because he's an artist, so he's thinking differently and uses the different powers. And you have John Stewart going, whoa, this is new, I don't know if I like this. And then you get the Sinestro core, and then that could be even a great end where you have the Sinestro core all in yellow, and you have the Green Lanterns just there. I actually did a episode on this, how to reboot the Green Lantern, with my co-host.
I like it.
Al.
What episode is that? So people can listen.
I think. Give me a second. Let me just pull up.
While you're pulling that up, Tony, your thoughts, DC?
I think DC got their blockbuster. They got one blockbuster, and it was not necessarily by chance, but I think it is. I think it was by chance that because Aquaman isn't necessarily an over-the-top great movie.
Right.
I think it was over CGI'd. I think the stunts were really ridiculous in the movie, and really overplayed. Like they were doing bicycle kicks in the air, which I thought was really, really ridiculous when she's like jumping from building to building to building.
You can't do that.
I wish I could.
Every day.
I wish I could bicycle kick getting up off the couch.
Chris Evans' workout routine.
Yeah. But no, I get the meat sweats, and there I am.
Right.
I'm like rocking myself
and
back
you're
and
too
forth.
busy eating.
Yeah. You know what it is.
So
but,
you're in, you're out, you're where I'm at.
I'm right with you. I want to say probably 90% of all DC fans who aren't up Batman's butt right now and saying, "Oh man, this is going to be a great film. It's going to be awesome." Look, Batman's out. Superman out. The only thing you got left is Aquaman and Wonder Woman, who are glad to stick around because they're getting a payday.
Right.
But other than that, they got nothing. Yep. They have absolutely nothing. And it's sad because they have such a great universe. They have such a range of characters